Hello everyone, I am Paris Carbone, one of the teaching assistants of this course. And in this video series, I'm going to guide you through the steps needed to set up your programming environment, as well as guiding you through the assignment programming and reporting phases. So here is a simple illustration of all the important steps we are going to cover in this tutorial in more detail. And as you all know, we use edX to publish all the material needed in this course. This is also where you will find a link to a virtual machine image that you will have to download, and there will also be a torrent file probably that you can use to download the image fast enough. So once you download the virtual machine image, all you have to do is to boot it in your local machine using VirtualBox, and then, well, do nothing more with it. As long as the virtual machine is active, you will be able to access via HTTP the web server that is running inside through the browser of your host machine. The programming environment that you access through this web server is powered by a custom version of Apache Zeppelin, the popular web-based notebook editor that has been typically used for data analytics. And actually, our version of Zeppelin communicates with Interpreter that runs Compix, our component-based programming framework. And that means that it lets you write, test, and disseminate any Compix service written in the Scala language. Each week, we are going to publish a notebook with a programming assignment at the edX page. A notebook is basically a JSON file that you will import in your local Zeppelin installation. And the notebook will basically contain a skeleton of the implementation of one or more components. And all you have to do is to complete the implementation of these components and then run the notebook successfully. Basically, after each component definition, the VM will run a local simulation to test your implementation against some very important properties that are needed to be satisfied. When your implementation is finally correct, you will export your edited notebook and upload it back to edX. If everything goes as planned, the grader will eventually give you back the final grade for your assignment. We will now go through the steps you need to follow in order to set up your environment and get started with Compix. Since we run everything in a virtualized environment, you will first have to download VirtualBox so you can boot up our VM. Then you will have to download the VM and boot it up using VirtualBox in your local machine. The VM will basically contain all dependencies and material you need to get started for this course, as I will show you next. So as I mentioned before, in this course we are using VirtualBox in order to boot the course image. And there's a link below this video that you can click and go to this website of VirtualBox where you can download the version that corresponds to the popular OS that you're using. And apparently VirtualBox is supporting most of the common operating systems. In our case, we will use the OS X installation. So we downloaded our image. Then we double-click the icon and go through the installation steps. So the installation is successful, and let's check if everything went as planned. Let's look into the VirtualBox application. It's there. And of course, we don't have any image booted so far. And then the next step is to download the image. We will provide links both for direct download and download via torrent at the website on edX that you can use to download it really fast. So I have downloaded my image, and here it is, Compix VM. Since I have VirtualBox already installed, I just double-click, and this window pops up. Here you can see how much RAM it takes. We kind of recommend to have at least 3 or 4 gigabytes free, because the JVM and Zeppelin take at least 3 gigabytes of memory, both. We also recommend to have at least a dual-core CPU. And that's it. So we just import this. So here's the VM. It's loaded right here. We can actually start it. I would recommend to go and click Headless Start, since we're just using the HTTP, the web server, to access the VM. There's no need to log in. So let's go ahead and start it. All right, so it seems it's up. One thing that I think is important to mention here is that we automatically port forward the 8080 port so you can access it in your host machine. But in case you have a port conflict, you can just right click here, go to settings, and then go to network, click advanced, and then port forwarding. Here you can see all the port forwarding mappings that exist. And in case you have a conflict, you can basically change the host port to another port that you have free, and you can use to access the VM. All right, since 8080 is free, let's just go ahead, localhost 8080. So here is the welcome page of the Zeppelin Compix image. And as you can see here, there are a few examples. There might be more examples when you actually download the release version of this image. But as you can see here, we really recommend you to go through these notebooks, the Scala Refresher and the Compix tutorial,